Sharon, could you talk to us about Silo?
Yes, Silo is a Apple original, so it's made exclusively for that platform. It is a single season, but it is based on a trilogy of novels by Hugh Howey, um, called Wool, and then I think it's Shift and Dust, or it might be Dust then Shift. Anyway, but there's a trilogy of books, and this is obviously based loosely on the first book called Wool.
Yeah.
And it is set, and we don't know the time frame, but it's set um, in a silo, which is basically a bunker underground that goes down something like 130 floors down. And there's a central staircase that runs down through it, and people sort of work up and down these levels. There's a top section where all the mayor lives with all the authority. There's like the judicial system, or the sheriff is based there. And then there's like the section called the mids, where you have all the industry, you have farms, you have the nurseries, you have the hospitals, and then you've got in the deeps, the down deep, you have where the engineering is, and there's the whole place is sort of run on these massive turbines under the ground that keeps the air flowing, that keeps power on, and it keeps everything working. But it's basically this entire, like a city, but underground, and we don't know why they're living underground. And as the series progresses, they don't know either. They just know that for generations they have lived in this silo.
Or something.
Yeah, and there was an uprising, and that everything from before the uprising was destroyed. So their history, human history, has been basically expunged. So all they know is the last 150 years. That's their entire knowledge of their existence. And every now and then they will find a relic from before, which is like before they lived in the silos. They knew that people at one point did live on the surface, and that something bad had happened, because basically if you go outside, you die. The air is poisoned, or there's something going on outside, so that you don't go outside, and because it's just not safe there. But every now and then they find a relic, and that reminds people that yes, there was life outside of the silo, but it is strictly put up, it's like repressed. They take these relics and they destroy them because they do not want people to know about life before. And the story starts with, we meet the sheriff, who has uncovered a mystery about the purpose and the existence of the silo, and something that we don't know about, but he has found something out, and he's following in the footsteps of his wife. His wife found something out, and so we're basically trying to follow his footsteps. And I don't want to sort of spoil the first few episodes, because it is quite key that you get drawn into this story.
It is.
But we end up seeing life basically on the different levels. We see the life up top, where they have like a window into the outside world, and it just shows this desolate wasteland. But there's only a very limited view. And in the past, when people there's a rule book called the Pact, which is like the agreement that everybody abides by when they live in the silo.
Yes.
And one of the clauses of this pact is that anyone who wants to go outside can go outside.
Or has to go outside.
But as soon as they express it, they say, I want to go outside. That's it. It's irreversible. They leave the silo. And when they go outside, they're given this wire wool, and they're told, did you want to clean? Because there's cameras outside. And the idea is that when it's safe to go outside, the people will see that there's sort of green shoots start to appear or something. And that if they clean the cameras, then it will mean that people inside will have a better insight of what's going on. And people say, I'm not going to clean. And then when they go outside, they end up cleaning. And the mystery is, what do they see that they think that we need to see? But that's why they clean these cameras. And as the story unfolds, we basically discover a little bit about how the silo runs, and a little bit about why people clean when they go out. But there is a mystery involved in this story, but I can't give you too many insights into it because it will be a bit of a spoiler.
No, you cannot.
But it does explore life, in the up tops, in the mids, and in the down deep.
Yeah.
How many episodes is it, Sharon? Can I ask? How many episodes?
10. It's
10
episodes.
Right, okay, so it's quite a lot of episodes then.
It's 10 episodes.
Yeah.
Each one is about an hour long. And if you there's similarities. I mean, I guess it's a dystopian thing, and most dystopian things have similarities. But if you ever saw a film called Snowpiercer about a train at the end of the world, where you had like there's some similarities to that. Like you have people all the way down at the bottom, you have mechanical, and mechanical is seen as like the lowest of the low, even though they're very, very important to keeping everybody alive. And then you have, but I like the world building in this because it feels like a world that has been thought out. And you think these are the people, these are the judicial people, these are the police people, these are the mayor, and you start getting the idea of all these different, almost, they're not really sects, but they have different functions between them, and there's even that they've thought about different ways about how long it would take you to travel the height of the silo, the depth of the silo, and how they say about, okay, we're going to go walk the silo, it's going to be like a day. So it's a very, very well put together world, and you can see someone has put a lot of thought into it, like, or if you're walking up and down, how would you drink water? How would you drink? And there's been a lot of stuff that has gone into this to help you figure that stuff out.
That sounds
How
good.
they survive, and and where the power lies, and not just in like the electrical power, but when you have a sort of building like this, where does the power lie? Does it lie with the judicial? Does it lie with the mayor? Does it lie with the most powerful person? It may not be the most obvious person. So it's very much a sort of a very much subtle shifting and maneuvering. And then at different episodes, you get sort of mini revelations. So you begin to think, oh, actually, okay, that's interesting. Fortunately, I read the books long enough ago. The books have been around for quite a long time. I read the books long enough ago that I wasn't hung up on, well, that's not the same as the book. Oh, I can see what's coming here, because I had enough distance so I could appreciate it and let it unfold. Even though some of the things I sort of knew, I still was able to really appreciate how it unfolded the story.
Sharon, does the whole, once you've watched the whole lot, does it all become clear, or have they left it on like a cliffhanger for next time? Because
if I may take this one, so I put up a tweet, I think just before I'd watched 9 of 10 episodes, and it was the gist of it was, I've watched 9 of 10 episodes, and there's too much story in here that they can't resolve it all in the last episode. And I think my words were, I'm getting that this is going to end on an annoying cliffhanger feeling. And when you're told that this is based on primarily a trilogy of books, you know it's not going to end. You know it's not going to end. I think, I think I'm getting a little bit of fatigue of stories that don't end. And stories that don't end straight away, because I understand why they do it. They want you to come back, and I understand that, and that is their right. I understand why Hugh Howey would have written a book that isn't just going to be one book. There's going to be more books, because that's how he's going to make his money. That's going to be his pension. I understand that, but I have to admit, I'm getting a little bit of fatigue of stories that don't end. I think Silo does it better than most in that some things are resolved. Some things are left open, and I think they just about get the balance right so that it isn't just really annoying.
And does it all take place in the silo, or do you actually see some of the outside world?
Pretty much. Essentially, what is actually in the outside world is a big part of the story.
Right. Okay.
It's a big part of the story. It's like the whole thing of what is outside there. Are people lying about what is outside there? If they are lying, why are they lying? And even what are they lying about? It's like this whole big thing where, because it has a quite good cast. You've got David Oyelowo, you've got Rashida Jones, you've got Rebecca Ferguson, you've got Tim Robbins, Geraldine James, Will Patton shows up, and you have all these, and you're kind of wondering, okay, cool, why are they there? What are they doing there? Who's the what does this mean? And it's one of those shows. It's one of those shows that I think you're supposed to be asking yourself all these questions while watching it, going, what does it all mean? Who's this person? Why are they doing this? All that kind of stuff. And I think it's called like a puzzle box, where little by little it reveals something to you, but everything it reveals is like, okay, but what does that mean? And why does that? And why did they do that? And it's that kind of show. And it does end on a bit of a cliff. Well, it's not
a cliffhanger as such, but it's a tease, isn't it? Almost for what's to come.
Yeah. It's a comeback. Come back if you want to find out what happens next.
Yeah, one of those.
I don't mind that in the fact that we know that it's based on a trilogy of books. I mean, my personal bugbear is when they decide to split a book over like 4 seasons.
Yeah,
and it's just like, just don't do that.
That is annoying.
I mean, they try to milk it, but I'm thinking if they can stick to 3 seasons, I'll be happy, because I think you don't need to over egg it. I mean, It's written. It's quite a concise writing in the novels. The novels aren't great chunks of books either. Wool is the longest book, but Shift and Dust aren't that huge a novel. So
yeah,
they are. There's about a season's worth of stuff in there. So I think, yeah, don't over-egg it. Just don't keep dragging it out. Make it into like, on our 6th season, we're planning to. It's like, don't do that.
Yeah, yes. That,
so,
but
I think if
I
they
will
keep
not
it,
be around for that. I
no,
can tell
you just start saying,
because
yeah.
I thought it was good. I thought it was really, really well written, acted, performed. I thought the world was well thought out. And my only bugbear is that the story doesn't end. But I think it's built in that the story doesn't end. So it's it's even I feel it's a bit of a weird thing to be annoyed about, but I am annoyed about it.
Yeah, well, no, I think it's got promise, though. I just don't want it to turn into Handmaid's Tale.
Oh, I don't want to turn.
Which was great first 2 seasons, and then it's just like, okay, just give it up now. Just give it up.
I think the danger is that it turns into Lost. I don't want it to turn into Lost.
Yeah.
I mean, thankfully, with Lost, they didn't know what they were doing. They were making it up as they're going along. This already has a roadmap.
Yeah.
You see, I never ever got that with Lost. So many people are telling me they used to love it, and I just never ever got lost. I was just like,
So I watched it. I used to watch Lost.
Did you?
Yeah,
I
watched
it.
it.
No, I didn't like it.
I did watch it to the very end because I thought I'm committed. I'm watching it to the end now. I'm watching it all. But now, to be honest with you, I was younger then. I wouldn't have the patience now. But if I lost interest, I'd be like, I'm gone.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, I think I
was like committed. I watched it and I liked it.
I've told this story before in the podcast about me and Lost and how I watched 3 episodes, realized this show relies on you not knowing what's going on. It's American, so they wanted to go for as long as possible. Therefore, they're never going to tell you what's going on. Yeah. And I left. Like 3 episodes in, I went, nope, not watching it because
I had a conversation with someone at work who looked at it and said, I can see this sort of going on for the next 5 years. I'm not going to commit 5 years to a program. So I'm out. And so, because some seasons you think, yeah, I can see that, but others you think, no, I can't be bothered.
Yeah. Oh, but, okay, but Sharon,
I'm hoping,
how many stars?
I think this is the problem. I would give it 4.
4.
I thought it was entertaining television. It was a good cast. It kept you guessing. There was no obvious, why would you do that, moments in it. Every now and then I would think, sometimes one of the protagonists, I think, are you being deliberately difficult? And I just think probably yes, it's their nature. But no, so I thought, to me it worked. It was a good adaptation and it worked as a standalone television show without having to have prior knowledge. Because some adaptations work better if you've read them, like we said with Dune. If you've read the books, you get more understanding and you can see the nuances and the layers. Yeah. This, I think, most of what you know as it's revealed is what you would. It's the same pace as it's revealed in the book. So to me, it was a good adaptation. I enjoyed it. I couldn't pick too many holes in it. So I thought, deserves a 4.
Yep. I'll give it a 4 as well. I mean, it not ending notwithstanding, I'll give it a 4. So let's go back